If you're anything like the thousands of people that I've worked with on health and fitness over the past 10 years, you probably don't want to look like an Instagram model with a six-pack. You probably just want to get fit and healthy and as little time and effort as possible so you've got more time for life. Well, I've got good news for you. Today I'm going to walk you through a 30-minute workout that I want you to do with me that's going to help you fix your posture, build muscle and burn fat. You don't need any fancy gym equipment, you don't even need a gym, you just need a home space and some loose fitting clothes. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you 4 weeks worth of variations of this workout so you can get into good health and fitness over the next 30 days. So my name's Mike Jones, and over the past 10-15 years, I've helped thousands of people improve their health, their fitness and their mindset. And I've done this through my multi-award winning consultancy, Better Happy, through owning a gym, which I had for 5 years, and through being a physical training instructor in the military. I also spent a couple of years traveling around Southeast Asia, living with monks on monasteries in Thailand and Nepal. So I don't just understand the physical aspect of getting healthier and fitter, but I also understand a lot about the mind and how the mind works. So I combine those two different experiences, military, gym ownership, leadership and management, with that more spiritual aspect to actually provide you with insights and resources that will help you change as a whole person. So on that point, what I need you to do right now, just before we start actually talking about the workout, is get really clear on what your health and fitness goals are. And I just want to show you a little pyramid here. I'm going to try and do it here anyway, so you'll see how the graphics goes. But what I need you to understand is you need to be clear on your goal, because when you're clear on your goal, you're going to stick out your health and your fitness efforts long term. Now, what most people do is they make a mistake here. So we've got this pyramid, and at the bottom of the pyramid, we've got where lots of people sit, which is being unhealthy. We're inactive, life's got busy, it's taken over, we're busy with careers, busy looking after the kids, doing all of this stuff, so we just haven't been looking after ourselves for a few years. We're in this bracket of being unhealthy. Then one day we wake up, our back's hurting, we don't like what we see in the mirror, we get a health scare, and we're like, okay, I need to fix this. And what we do is we don't get clear on what our goal is, we just want to move away from being unhealthy. So we go on the internet and we just end up signing up for something that's ridiculous. So what we tend to do is go from being unhealthy to trying to be fit or to trying to be an athletic level of performance. So typical example of this, you've done nothing for years and you sign up for a marathon. So that's going from unhealthy to athlete level of fitness and performance. If you're honest with yourself and you really think about it, most of us just want to be healthy. We don't want to be super fit, we don't care about having a six-pack. It would be nice, but if we're really honest with ourselves, we probably don't want to put the time and effort and discipline in that we need to achieve that. And this is really important to understand, because if we just get clear on the fact that we just want to be healthy and we just want to live longer and we just want to be pain-free and we want to feel relatively confident when we go on holiday and this stuff, this is a good thing to understand, because to achieve this health bracket is a lot easier than to achieve this fitness or this performance bracket. It takes a lot less time, it takes a lot less effort, and it's much easier to fit into your life. So I want you to think about what your goals are. Now, if your goals are to be an absolute fitness beast or to have a six-pack or to be able to run a marathon, this probably isn't the right stuff for you. You probably want to go and find a specific program for that, but it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of discipline and a lot of effort. Whereas if you just want to be healthy and you want to be pain-free and you want to live as long as possible or increase your chances of living as long as possible and not hold on to excess fat and have good energy levels, you only need this fitness bracket. And what happens with a lot of people, this health bracket, sorry. And what happens with a lot of people is you put the effort and time into this stuff, make this a habit, and then you do start to naturally move into the fitness piece anyway. So it's really important for me that you understand that before you start trying to do this stuff, because if you're not clear on what your end goal is, every tactic seems like a good tactic, but you're not going to make any of it stick. Whereas if you get clear on your end goal, then you can find the right path for you. And if your path is to be healthy, I'm going to provide you with a really good strategy to get there. And one more little mindset thing to think about before we actually get into the workout is stop trying to look like this if you just want to be healthy. This is an unrealistic image of what health is. This is fitness or high level performance of fitness, and it's normally fueled by steroids. Being healthy is a lot less about this than it is about this, being able to walk, being pain-free, and not holding on to excessive body fat. So don't let the internet lie to you and make you think you need to look like this. If you want to look like this, great, but you're going to need a very hard, high level of programming to get there, and you're probably going to need to take some supplements to look like this. Whereas if you just want to be healthy, you don't need to look like that. We always start our 10-minute workouts with a mobility section. So up to 10 minutes of mobility, also known as flexibility. So your mobility is vital to your performance, to the longevity in your training. And when we do our mobility regularly, little efforts regularly, it increases our flexibility around our joints, which enables us to perform better because we can utilize more of our body. It also prevents us being in pain, reduces our risk of injury, and improves our posture. So it's a really important thing to do. Something that's worth you understanding is there's lots of people that are quite fit. So let's take, for example, a cyclist, a really high-level road cyclist, who can perform well at the CV level, cardiovascular. They've got good condition and strength in their legs, but their posture is really poor. So just because people can perform at a high level doesn't mean they've got good mobility. So when we're doing mobility with this method, we focus on a method called RSS, and that stands for release, stretch, strengthen. And this is a way to actually fix your posture. And I'm gonna, as we're going through this now, and I want you to do this with me, but as we're going through this, I'm gonna explain to you why this is the method that works and why most other methods don't work. So we start off with release. Now there's different areas of our body that we can mobilize, but today we're gonna focus on the shoulder, just keep it nice and simple. So really common, we get tight shoulders, okay? We sit down at our computers, at our desks, on our phones, shoulders go forwards, and we end up with tight shoulders and tight spines, and our posture goes off. And if you look at people that are really senior, so kind of like 70s, 80s, 90s, that haven't looked after their posture, you'll see that they're in this position here. And that is just years and years and years and years of this, what we've got now, and letting it get away with us. Good news is we can undo it, and we can undo it with this little bit of effort. So the first thing we do is release. So I'm going to assume that the front of my shoulder and my chest around here is tight. So I don't just want to stretch that because it's like a knotted kind of tissue. I need to loosen that off first. And the way we do that is by applying pressure. So what I want you to do now in this walk through with me is I want you to spend 2 minutes on each shoulder and chest, top of the chest here, releasing it. Now there's a couple of ways we can do this. I said no equipment for this video. If you have got something like a hockey ball or a nice solid ball like this, you can actually get these from pet shops for a couple of quid. You can use that and go against the wall and roll into it. So you just come around with the camera a bit, please. And all we're trying to do is find the areas where it's sore, and we want to spend a good 60 seconds to a minute on the areas that are sore. Typically it's going to be in here and in here. Don't try and be a perfectionist. It's just find the areas that are sore and work on them. If you haven't got a ball, that's fine. You can use your thumb, or you can use a partner, you can get their thumb in for you and just work into the areas that's killing me now. I did some bench yesterday, so that's really sore. Or you can find something that's sticking out like a banister or something at home, or a doorknob, and yes, you're gonna look ridiculous, but something that's sticking out at home and you can just work into and press that. But the key is that you're applying pressure to this tight area for about 1 to 2 minutes per shoulder. So if you're doing this now, you can just pause the video and work through that. Okay, so we spent a couple of minutes, so that's 4 minutes in total, mobilising each side of the shoulder. Now we want to stretch it. Now we've loosened it off a bit, we want to stretch it. And what you're going to do is you're going to find a wall. I'm just going to use this pole so you can see me as I'm talking through it. You're going to place your hand flat on the pole around shoulder height. You can play around with this and just see where you get the best stretch. And then what you're going to do is, obviously I would actually have a wall here if I was doing this the way that I'm explaining to you. You're going to turn your chest away and try and feel a stretch across either your chest and or your shoulder. And you can play around with your hand position. You can go high, you can go lower to see where you feel it in the stretch. You can also come away from the wall. Everyone's going to say, oh, this is the right way to do it. I always say just play around until you find where you feel the stretch. You can try rolling your shoulder forwards into it and then twisting, but just play around and see what feels nice and where you get that that stretch and kind of release feeling. Once you've found that, what you want to do is you want to try and hold it for about 60 seconds. And after about 30 seconds in, you're going to try and increase it. So let's say I've been holding this for 30 seconds now. I'm now going to try and increase that stretch by twisting a little bit more, because you'll normally find that your nervous system lets you just get that extra stretch at the end. So today we're going to do a minute on each side of that. So now what we're going to do is strengthen the opposite side. So we've released it, we've stretched it, but the problem is that if we don't start to strengthen the muscles on the back side or the opposite side of the thigh muscle, it's just going to go back to its old place even though it's looser. So if we really want to fix our posture over time, we have to make sure we're strengthening the weak muscles on the other side as well. So without equipment, the best way to do the back of your shoulder is through WYI. So this is where you lie on the floor. What you're going to do now is you're going to do this with me. So I'm just going to show you and then you can pause the video and do it. But we're going to go for 10 reps. Okay, so I'm going to lie on the floor like so. And I'm going to put this over here, because last time I filmed this, my beard muffled all the sound up, so I'm having to put it here now. So we're going to lie on the floor. We're going to create a W shape with our arms. Then we're going to create a Y shape with our arms, then an I. And I'm trying to keep my hands off the floor, but if I've got really tight thoracic spine, I'm going to find that quite difficult, and that's okay. We can just work on that over time. But that's 1 rep, W-Y. I, 2 reps, W, Y, I. What we're doing here is we're targeting weak muscles. You don't need to do a lot of reps, you don't need weight, it's just that repetition. You're going to find that they burn out quite quickly because they're such weak muscles that are hidden away. So that whole routine that we've just been through there, should take you 10 or less minutes. And when you start doing these workouts consistently and you've got a program, it's really quick. Once you've done the movements a few times, you're like, okay, I know these different things now, I can get it done, no problem, in 10 minutes. So now we're ready to go into our strength training. So next we've got our strength training, or our muscle maintenance training. So we all need strength because it helps us stay independent, so we can move ourselves around, pick stuff up, get up off the floor. It also, when we've got a decent level of muscle mass, I don't mean you have to be big and muscly, but just like a base level, that boosts up your metabolic rate, which basically your body burns more fat just by being alive because you've got muscle there. And what that does is means that it's easier for you to lose weight and maintain a healthy body weight. So there's loads of benefits to strength training, but those are just a couple that I think are the most attractive to people. So, and also another thing that is worth considering is that it's easier for us to get fit when we've got a bit of strength because we can use our bodies more. So if we're really weak, it's actually hard for us to get fit because we can't do stuff because we get out of breath really easily and we can't move any weight around. Again, no equipment today. So when we're doing strength training in this minimalist just for health training, we focus on compound movements. So this is things that involve the hips, like squats and deadlifts and kettlebell swings, and things that involve the shoulder. We're not going to do loads of accessory work like bicep curls and triceps and all this stuff. We'll do some of that and we'll recommend that at times, but you don't really need that because if you think about it, for example, when I'm doing a push-up, which is a shoulder movement, I'm working my chest, I'm working the back of my arms as well. When I do a squat, I'm working my glutes and my hips and my core, but I'm also working my legs. So it's much better when we get more bang for our buck just to do these big compound movements. So today we're going to look at no equipment, the squat. When we're trying to improve or maintain our muscle mass, we really want to be living in the 8 to 15 rep range. So that is whatever movement we do, we couldn't do more than 8 or less than 8 or more than 15 reps. If we could, it starts to move into a different kind of, we're still going to get benefits from it, but it starts to move into more of an endurance benefit than a muscle building benefit. So we need to find a weight that's going to challenge us at that rep range. Now, when we're using body weight, what we do is we manipulate how we utilize our body weight to make it more challenging. So if I'm really unfit and unhealthy, for this one, we're all going to do 3 sets of 8 to 15. If I'm really unfit, I'm probably going to find that just doing a squat is hard enough for me. So I'm going to come down and come back up, and I might find that I struggle to do kind of 15 reps on that. So if I do, that's the movement that I'm going to do. If I can't get all the way down, creaky knees, if I can't get all the way down, this actually turns into more of a mobility than a strength exercise. And this is a really important thing for you to understand, and this is probably one of the most important lessons that people understand when we work with them, is that if you haven't got adequate mobility in your shoulder or your hip, most of your training at the start is actually around building up your flexibility as opposed to stacking on loads of muscle. Because if you just try and stack on loads of muscle and strength and you're not flexible enough, you're going to build that muscle in an imbalanced way. So if I can't squat all the way down, I can only squat to there, for example, then when I come down, I'm not utilizing the muscle through my hips and my legs equally and properly. I'm probably overloading my quads and putting too much pressure on my knees. So yeah, I can get stronger doing this movement, but over time I'm going to get knee pain. So it's much better for me to work on the mobility first. So if you can't squat all the way down, you're going to try and squat to a box. And then once you get to a box, you're going to try and squat lower. And until you can get your hips below your knees, no problem, you're going to be working on kind of building that up as opposed to just trying to put strength on. If you can squat all the way down, we're going to turn this into a strength training exercise. So the way that we do that, if you find that the 15 reps is easy, so if you've got a basic level of fitness, you should get to a point where this is easy. 15 reps of this is easy. So if I just did this, 3 sets of 12 to 15, I'm not going to get any muscle building benefit from that now, because it's not enough load against the strength of my legs and my hips to build strength. So what I'm going to do is remove one leg, which effectively doubles my body weight. So I could try this variation here. I want you to have a go at that for this workout, and if you can do 15 reps of that no problem, then we're going to make it harder. Okay, but if you can't, that's what we're going to do, the 15 variations. So I step behind like so, come down, try and get between 8 and 15 reps. Okay, if you find that easy, you're then going to try a pistol squat, and you can use a box for this, or obviously you probably don't have a box at home, so you can find something that you can raise up to this standard, a few boxes, whatever it might be, just make sure it can take your weight. And we're going to come down, and this is a harder variation. I'm going to come down and then come back up. Now I train quite a lot, and just doing 1 rep of that is already starting to ache my legs. So I know that for most of us watching this, that between this variation here and this variation here, we're definitely going to find something that can build strength in the leg. And if I really want to make it challenging, I can try the pistol squat without the box. So you notice I jumped there. That's a little bit because my ankle mobility is off. So what I'm going to do is raise my ankle slightly. Okay, and then that's going to make it much easier. So for most of us, doing between 8 and 15 reps, that's going to be very difficult. So between those different variations there, we're definitely going to have something that gives us a strength benefit. Now, a couple more things to think about just before you pause the video and get on with that. There's a thing called tempo. So how fast are we doing the reps? And this is important. I'm just going to show you with a normal air squat just to make it easy to demonstrate. But it's important that we think about what's the tempo that we're doing the reps on and how much rest are we having in between our sets. So a set is how many full groups of reps do we do. So a rep is this, 1, 2. A set is the full combination of them. So if I did 10 of them, I'm not going to do the 10 now, so 8, 9, 10, and then I have a rest. I've just done one set of 10 reps. Okay, what I want you to do in these workouts is 3 sets of 8 to 15 reps. And if you're failing within that 8 to 15 window, it's a good weight or a good body weight for you to do. If you're finding it too hard, you're moving into strength training, we probably don't want to do that yet. If you're finding that you can do way more than 15, it's too light, you need to make it more challenging. Tempo is how fast I come down, how long I stay at the bottom, how fast I come up. General rule of thumb, just to keep it nice and simple for you, we want to do controlled tempo on the way down. And that's normally around 3 seconds. You don't need to be a perfectionist with this, but it's normally 3, 2, 1, as opposed to just coming down like so. And then at the bottom, we normally want to have a 1 to 2 second pause. So 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, and then we come up nice and quick. That's generally what we want to do just for improving muscle mass and looking after our movement patterns. Cool, so pause the video, jump on with your 3 sets now. Now we're going to finish our 30-minute session with a 10-minute or up to 10-minute conditioning piece. So the benefits of conditioning are it works the heart and the lungs, and if we work in different movements, we also build up muscular endurance in different parts of our body. So you could have somebody that's got really good heart and lung capacity, but they've got no conditioning in their legs. So that's why we want to mix in different movements so that we've got healthy heart and lungs and also good muscular endurance throughout our body. That enables us to live a healthy, active life. When you get your heart rate above 80% in these short, sharp workouts, you release certain hormones that help you build muscle and burn fat up to kind of 4 hours after you've trained. So it's good to get yourself out of breath. But one point to caveat here is that if you're unfit and you're just getting started, it's actually gonna be hard for you to train hard enough to really get out of breath for a sustained period of time. That's fine, don't sweat it, don't stress about it. As you're starting out, just try and aim when you're starting out with your fitness, and we give you these workouts, just try and aim to pace yourself to be able to go through the whole thing. Don't worry about killing yourself. Don't listen to that thing I just said there where you need to get your heart rate up above 80%. That'll come with time and it'll come naturally. But at the start of your fitness and your health journey, just make it a goal to finish these workouts. So the workout that we're gonna do is a 10-minute AMRAP. So as many reps as possible, rounds as possible in 10 minutes. And ideally you're gonna record this so that you can come back to it one day and see how many reps you did, but don't stress about that too much. So what we're going to do is a 50-meter run, and that's going to be done in ideally in intervals of 10, which I'll show you now, but you can adjust that to whatever space you've got available to you. If you can't do that, we'll change it to jumping jacks instead. Then we're going to do 10 lunges total. So that's, again, we're hitting the legs, but we're hitting single leg in a slightly different way. And then we're going to do 10 push-ups. And what I'm going to show you now is how to set that up and how to scale it. And it's really important that you know how to scale it, because the whole idea of this workout is that this conditioning piece is that you're working these things at high intensity, moderate to high intensity. So let's say that you're not very good at push-ups, which is perfectly normal. If I don't want to slow this workout down by pumping out 1 push-up and then having a 5-minute rest. I need to keep moving for the 10 minutes. So what I do is I put my ego to the side and I make my push-up easier so that I can pump out 10 pretty much in 1 or 2 sets every time. So to set up your runs, ideally you've got a 10-meter space. So we've got the luxury of a gym here where I'm filming. I've got this box here. I've got another box over there, which is 10 meters away. So I'd obviously run that 5 times. So every time I do to the box is 10 meters. So that's 10 meters. And again, that would be 20, 30, 40, 50. Now, if I finish this workout and I've done 10, I've only got another 10 in, I'd give myself a rep for that. So you essentially get 1 point on your reps for every 10 meters. If that's confusing you, don't worry about it. If you can't run, if you really can't run because you haven't got the space, ideally you could get on a bike or a rower and do your 50 meters on there instead. But the other thing that we could do is jumping jacks. And what I want you to do for jumping jacks is 50 jumping jacks. So this is if you're really limited on space, you're going to jump out and back 50 times. And when you record that, I just want you to record that you did jumping jacks instead, because when you come back to this and you might do a run instead, you might notice that you get different scores. But if you didn't write down that you did jumping jacks, you won't know what. Then we're going to go on to our lunges. Okay, so we want to do 10 lunges in total. So I've done my 50 meters of running. Now I'm going to do my lunges. Now ideally, I want to get my knee to touch the floor gently. So I'm not smashing my knee into the floor, it's just touching the floor gently. And I change legs every time, and as you'll notice, I'm stepping forwards. So 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. If you feel like it hurts you to get down to the floor, we scale the movement, so we just come partially down. That's what matters, okay? And if you feel like you can't do that in 1 or 2 sets, if you're doing 2 reps and then your legs are killing every time, again, reduce the movement, just make it easier. Over time, you're gonna get better and better. And then we go on to our push-ups, okay? So doing 10 push-ups unbroken is quite difficult and it requires quite a lot of strength. So the ideal, if we're there at this level of fitness, is that we do our 10 push-ups unbroken. And what we want to see is that, or what we want to know is that our chest touches the floor, so we're almost lying down, then we're driving back up. Now for most of us, that's going to be too hard. Okay, we're not going to have the strength and the stamina in the chest and the shoulders and the arms to be able to keep pumping out sets of 10 on that. And we're going to very quickly find that we burn out. So what we want to do is change that movement from the start to find a movement that we can keep going at. And the ways that you scale this is by adjusting the point of the lever. So if I drop my knees down, instead of being here, there's less weight going from my upper body. Now a lot of us are still going to find that hard. I'm not going to go massively into push-up technique today, but what I do also want to know is that my elbows are going back, not like this. If I'm pushing it like this, I'm cranking it all through my shoulders. That's not good. So it should be a chest movement. So I'm squeezing my shoulder blades back and then driving down. Now a lot of us are still going to find that too hard. Perfectly fine, that's okay. So the way we fix that is we go to a raised surface, like a box. This is a 30-inch box. So I'll come down like so, and if we still find that that's going to kill us, and that's fine, you know, it's quite normal, we go to a wall. We go to a wall, and we can like make it easier or harder by how far away our feet are from the wall. So if we want to make it a little bit more challenging, we come down. Just play with your arms so you find out where you're feeling it more in your chest. Because if I go like this, look, it's going to be more of a kind of tricep movement. You're still going to get a benefit from this. It doesn't matter too much. If I come closer to the wall, I can get like so. So 10 of those. So what I want you to do is set that up, pause the video, work through, so you do your 50 meters of run or your 50 jumping jacks. When you finish that, you go on to your 10 lunges. When you finish that, onto your 10 push-ups, and you keep going through as many times as you can, and then you record at the end of it the total rounds and reps that you got. Congratulations, you've just completed your first sub 30 minute or 30 minutes-ish minimalist workout for health. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you're feeling the benefit of it already and you're feeling more alive. You've brought some of your muscles to life, you've brought your heart and your lungs to life, you've done some mobility, so your posture should be feeling a little bit better already. Hopefully you've understood from this that mobility is the key thing that underpins your overall health and fitness. If we've got good mobility and flexibility, then we can train longer, we can be pain-free, our posture's good, and we can get more out of our training. So what I want you to do after this video now is go and watch my 4 levels of squat video, because ultimately if we can build up to the top level of a squat, which is an overhead squat, if we can build up to that, then we've got really good mobility that's going to help us train and be healthy for the rest of our life. So I want you to head over and watch that video. It gives you a full guide and a full leveling system to show you where you're at now and where you need to get to. And again, if you found this useful and interesting, please make sure that you subscribe, like the video, and keep up to date with all the latest videos that we'll be posting.